You've partnered with Dior, Fendi, YSL, and Tom Ford, and you don't get burnt out?
At the end of the day, you can't outdo someone who's having fun.
Why do you think Dior trusted you?
I need to be able to show up every day in a way that's easy, and the only way you can show up in a way that's easy is if you show up as yourself.
Fendi flew you out to Milan for Fashion Week?
Oh my God, guys. I was shaking. I come back feeling like I am honestly invincible.
So you manifested your success on this show 5 years ago? If you could work with any brand, who would it be?
I think YSL, I really identify with them.
YSL, if you're hearing this, call the girl, please.
I feel like everything I have has been manifested and just on the sheer belief that there's no other way. Working with a brand as a partner, not just like, oh, this is a get ready with me, this is what I'm using, and then you just never talk about it again. It was so meaningful, and it was so meaningful to me.
She's back 5 years later. What's up?
Hi,
How you
it's so
doing?
good to be back.
Nice to see you, Zhanna.
Nice to see you.
April of 2021.
That's crazy.
That was like you were just starting up.
Yeah, I just started, I think I don't know, maybe 8 months I was doing this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and now 5 years later.
How does it feel? Did you ever think you'd be sitting here again after 5 years?
No.
Okay.
Because back then I was just I was posting for fun and something was working, but you don't really think too far into the future because you still feel like, oh, maybe it's a fluke, maybe it'll die out, and you're just I'll feel it out. But then 5 years later to sit as this being a solid career is crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've witnessed it the last 5 years and it's been super inspiring.
Thank you.
What do you think changed the most about you in the last 5 years?
I think the way that I treat social media.
Okay.
So before it was just a lot of fun and one-off things and let me try this, let me try that. And I think throughout these years, I grew up as a person and I have such a strong hold on who I am. And so my content now is just, it's not, I'm not trying things anymore. I'm just being myself and showing that and learning how to just run this as a business as opposed to just hee TikToks for fun and just being more professional about it. Yeah.
Was there a reason that you made that change?
Honestly, yeah. The first year or two that I was doing this, again, it was all for fun. And then tax season hit and I had to get all my accounting in order.
Okay.
And I'm oh no. And that's when I realized that being creative and just being yourself and fun and manifesting and everything is just as important as running such a tight ship with invoices, with documentation, with just everything being in such strict order. And it's sometimes hard because those are such two different extremes of your brain operating at the same time, but they both have to be on 100%. So you can't meet them in the middle.
Yep.
You have to be delusional and you have to be so strict. I think that was the...
Were you making money at the time that you, we had you on for part one? Were you making money with brand deals or anything like that?
Yeah, it wasn't enough to sustain anything. It was
Okay.
it would be the same as me having a part-time job.
Okay.
So it wasn't anything significant. It was again, one-off deals here and there. I didn't really have a solid rate. I was still kind of modeling at the time. So a lot of the money was going for fees to them as well. So it was but not, it wasn't sustainable in any way.
Are you still doing both, the content and the modeling?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I started content doing modeling stuff because modeling wasn't going too well. And I was I need to find a way to showcase myself in a different way. That kind of led me to social media. And then when I realized that I love the autonomy of social media and I actually love the behind the scenes so much more, that it was this perfect bridge together of I am still in front of the camera, but I manage everything behind as well.
Wow.
So now I don't do modeling, maybe a one-off job here and there that I would genuinely enjoy or I feel that aligns with me, I would do it. But overall, no.
So why don't we give the audience a bit of context as to maybe how you started, but where you were at in the first episode?
Yeah.
Because then I kind of want to do comparison to where you are now, right? And give the audience some inspiration that if you just keep going
Yeah.
and, like you mentioned, treat it like a business, start getting serious about it, which are all things I think you did the last 5 years, that anything's possible. So maybe give us some context as to where you were at what year? I guess that was year one for you.
Yeah.
Though? Was that the first year
It
of you
was.
doing it? Wow. Okay, so year one compared to year five, that's going to be a cool comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know where you were at that point and why you started. Big shout out to our family at Minting, Canada's top spot for sports cards, trading cards, collectibles, and live hobby experiences.
If you're just getting started or you're already deep in the game, they've got it all with retail packs, high-end boxes, grading, supplies, and they even do daily live shows. Me and Anth actually have started building our own collection. We're stacking Ronaldo cards, grabbing some Funkos, and ripping whatever we got the itch for. You can shop online or roll to their store in Vaughan to rip, trade, and hit up their bi-weekly trade nights. Hit the link in our description below. Use the code MBH5 at checkout for a little bonus from the boys. Big love for Minting for backing the pod and keeping the hobby scene alive in Toronto.
Yeah. I started, again, in part by accident, and then it kind of grew. I was studying HR and then quit that. Well, didn't have even a chance to start because the pandemic started, so didn't even pursue that. But then I started just posting for fun, and then what I was doing on the side was modeling, and I kind of merged the two together where, like, what can I be making content about? It became solely modeling. I think back then on TikTok, it was quite easy to go viral. You just like, you pick the most trending song, you kind of know what to do, and then that's what I was focused on. Like, how do I just grab the most attention? I was doing catwalk videos and whatever would make me go viral in the modeling sphere, and it paid off. I started getting modeling jobs, ironically. I wouldn't get them before as much. And then now, I guess, I don't focus on going viral. I just focus on being myself and the value that I could bring throughout so many different things outside of modeling.
Okay.
And I feel like my content has transformed so much. I haven't done anything modeling related, and a big part of my audience was that. And so when I made that shift, my viewership really fell off, and it was like a big restructuring. And I think for like 6 months, it was like crickets, you know? And I'm like, I just have to keep going. New people will come, people who need to see this will see this, and you just kind of have to keep doing it. There's no shortcut. You just have to keep pushing. It can be cringy, embarrassing, or like it's also an ego blow when you go from like getting a certain amount of views and then all of a sudden you try to be more yourself and you get less views and you're like, shit.
I feel like a lot of creators go through that though, where they're like, okay, I have this one format, it keeps going viral and viral and I could just keep doing it, but no one's really getting to know who I am.
Yeah.
And I think it was, your catwalk videos were like, were a format that was just going viral at all times.
Yeah.
But was there something, like, was there a reason you decided like you wanted to show your personality more? Because technically it was working. Like you said, you were getting some modeling gigs that you wouldn't have got. But what clicked for you where you're like, okay, even if I am to take this blow to my views and you know, my audience takes a hit, I still got to do this.
Yeah. Honestly, two things come to mind. I remember when I kept doing those like rinse repeat catwalk videos, and I would always do like a like how to walk like a model from the 2000s, or like I would do like how to walk like someone else. And there was this one comment in a sea of thousands of comments that said, "But what's your walk? Like, what do you do?"
Damn.
And it was like, shit, I don't know. I don't have one. And then that's when I realized like what am I? And, you know, and it kind of just like all fell down in my head where I was like, all right, I can do what other people do really well and I can show how to do it, but who am I? And then I also thought about the most genuine feedback I got was always what I would post from my stories. And on my stories on Instagram, I'm always a little bit more goofy and genuine, and it's kind of unfiltered. And that's what gives me like a genuine response from people, as opposed to like a comment on a catwalk video that's like, wow, this is cool, like interesting. True. But here there was some sort of like, it was like a catch on personality and authenticity. And what I do now, like I was on a trip recently and I posted something on my story and it was like the silly video. And then I'm like, but why don't I post this on my feed? And I know it will do worse. And I know it's unusual for people to see it. And I was like, whatever, I'm just going to do it. I deleted it from my story. I posted it. It was funny. It was whatever. And so like so many people reached out. They're like, oh my God, this is hilarious, or like whatever, you know? And that being even a small amount of people, smaller from what you would get from a viral video, those people connected with me on a deeper level forever.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think people fall in love with going viral, and it's hard. Like, okay, so when you were kind of catching that blow to your audience and your views, how did you take that? Like, how were you getting through that? Because, you know, there's some of your videos, the catwalk ones, millions and millions of views, right? So to go from that to not getting that, I think a lot of creators watching this know how that feels as well. How did you get through that point? Is it just something that you just decided, I just got to keep doing this and eventually it'll pay off? And did you notice anything Second to that, did you notice anything in terms of, I know you said like you felt like you were building more of a connection with your audience, but was that opening new doors for you as well in terms of business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to answer the first part, how I got through it is I knew that at the end of the day, what's my intention? And it's to be authentic. Of course, the goal is to grow on social media, but the intention, which is the layer under with what you're doing it with, what's the point? So for me, it was to be authentic, build real relationships with people, and in the process, be able to do it myself every day. And when I was putting on kind of, I don't want to say a show with like the modeling stuff, but it was more like entertainment based videos, I was getting burnt out quicker because it wasn't my day to day. And so if my intention is to be authentic and be here long term, I need to be able to show up every day in a way that's easy. And the only way you can show up in a way that's easy is if you show up as yourself. And so I just knew that even though the views are down right now, I'm not thinking next 6 months, whatever. I'm thinking the next 6 years, what are they going to look for me? And you just have to, you know, be yourself. And how that translated to even brands responding better, I would post a lot of things organically. And there are so many opportunities that came from that where a brand sees more from me than this is a pretty video that I can make for them. They see a personal alignment of values, of me genuinely using something, of the people that are watching it, trusting that. And that is worth so much more than going viral on a video and getting X amount of followers in the moment.
True. Because also brands are looking for that connection with their audience and someone to represent their values. But that's really cool. When did you make that change? Do you remember when that was?
I think that was maybe year 3.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say like year 3 of me doing it.
So this was, I guess, 2 years ago.
Like 2 years ago, yeah, when I just like fully pivoted and shifted. And I shifted from modeling to just doing fashion videos because I felt like that was a good like medium. And then I did more like makeup and then lifestyle and then a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then just doing what I genuinely and naturally want to be doing anyways.
So what were the videos like at that point when you said, okay, I'm just going to be myself? What did that change look like for you in terms of your day-to-day now? Was it like, okay, I'm getting up, I'm going to show them how I get changed, I'm going to show them my trip or my travel to work or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
Like what was the plan with that?
It became very natural. It became very unscripted. And like when I would do those modeling videos or fashion videos, I would, you know, plan out the thing the night before. I would practice, I would research, I would whatever. And which is good to do, you know, depends for what. But it just became just me being me. Whenever I had like some thought, I'm like, oh, let me just record that and share it. And like, doesn't matter if my makeup's not on yet, like I can start working because I'm just myself, you know? And arguably that's harder to do than when you're so prepared and everything is a production because that's going to be perfect and polished. And arguably it's harder to just wake up and know that like, oh my God, if I have this idea now, I need to execute it right here, right now, or else I'm going to forget or it's not going to get done. And whatever that means for you, like you just do it and you just put it out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you were just going, I guess you were posting what, every day? Couple videos?
Yeah. Every day on different things, like books that I've read, you know. Some people were like, what are we just watch catwalk videos. Like, what is this doing here? And I'm like, whatever, you know?
And you're not really necessarily thinking like, okay, because again, like a creator, usually when they're looking at it from a business angle, they're like, okay, how can I eventually make money off videos like this? You weren't really looking at it like that yet. You weren't really saying like, okay, let me do a get ready with me and place some product there that might be a product placement eventually. Like, were you already thinking of that?
A little bit. I think it's kind of like in the background. I didn't let it like take over the forefront of like, I'm doing this get ready with me and I'm going to place this here and like hope this is going to mean something for me in the future. It was just kind of like, well, I am getting ready and I am using products. So why not show the ones that I'm genuinely using and whatever. And actually that led me to a crazy opportunity. There's this like face cream that I use by Shiseido for, I've used it for like a decade more. And I would just constantly post it. And then they eventually reached out and they said, hey, we have an opportunity for you to go to Tokyo and learn more about this product and speak to the scientists that created it. And I was like, what? And they're like, well, who else would we send? We see how much you love it. And I was like, whoa, just me being myself and just showing something genuinely led to this, which then led to a paid opportunity and, you know, working with a brand as a partner, not just like, oh, this is a get ready with me, this is what I'm using, and then you just like never talk about it again. Yeah. It was so meaningful, and it was so meaningful to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long were you posting about them until they reached out?
I think for a couple of years.
Wow.
A couple of years, yeah.
And you weren't really expecting anything from it.
No, it was my genuine, like I genuinely love it. And, you know, I would plug it in everywhere because it's a product I stand behind 100%. And then to get that opportunity was both insane, but also not, because it's like, yeah, who else loves this more than me, you know? And like, this goes to like, to prove that whatever you're, again, being authentic about is what is going to get you somewhere.
Yeah. It's crazy because a lot of creators would look past doing that, right? They'd be like, oh, well, they're not paying me. Why am I going to show, even if I love the product, right? But I know some massive female creators, also Valeria Lipovetsky.
Yeah.
We're very close with her, and she has the same kind of recipe where she'll post things that she just likes, and eventually the brand might reach out. Even if they don't, she's still being genuine with what she posts.
For sure.
But I think that's just like a huge takeaway for people to, especially in fashion. I think fashion or wellness products or health products, they should do that more. Were you doing that with a bunch of different products? Like you were just saying, okay, I use this on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
Let me just tag them all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. Like there's, you know, but is like when I think about it, when you go down like to the very like, you know, step one, but isn't this why we're sharing what we're sharing? Isn't this why we're content creators and quote unquote influencers? Like we share the things that we genuinely love and use, and we post them. And I know so many people that are also like, you know, well, if this brand isn't going to pay me, I'm not going to post them or whatever.
For sure. And you have a big platform too. Like there's people with smaller audiences that would say that.
Yeah.
That would say, I'm not going to put this in because they're not paying me.
But I feel like that's so backwards, because how are you supposed to build the relationship in another way? If I were to just cold email that brand and been like, I love your product, like, let's go to Tokyo, whatever, they'd be like, who are you? You know? But when you have so much that stands behind it, there's like, it's a no-brainer, you know?
And I think also you build so much trust with them, because they're like, okay, well, if there's anyone that actually, because I think that's a brand's like fear as well, where they're like, we want the influencer we're using or the creator to actually like us and our product, and not just be like a quick one-time thing or a money grab, whatever it might be. I think even with sponsors we've dealt with, they're like, no, we genuinely like want to make sure you guys love it, because it translated on camera, obviously. Like you can tell when someone's just trying to sell something.
For sure.
But I think that's a very, I guess, humble way. Like what you said is right. It is common sense that you would just show what you genuinely use day to day. But I also think it's a humble way where you're just like, you know, even if they don't see this, I'm still showing my audience what I truly love.
Yeah, what I'm spending my money on, like, you know what I mean? And also I think like when we think about, I guess, AI being able to replace, you know, anybody, the only thing that is going to make you different is just being authentic and being who you are, because they could have hired just a one-off person for whatever, done their campaign and moved on, but for whatever reason they chose to align themselves with someone who really represents what they do.
Yeah, I was talking to my mom the other day because she always brings up AI, and she's always just like, oh, like all the jobs are gonna be, I watched this video, I'm like, stop watching videos about it. She's like, in 10 years everything's a robot. And I was talking with her. I'm like, honestly, like there's a lot of things that will get replaced, as we see it already. But I think there's a few things that won't. And I think if you're a person that has built an audience off personality, that's going to be very hard to replace with AI.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things where it's like, and I think people will crave personality more than ever at that point when everything becomes a robot. It's kind of like when we were in the pandemic and you weren't allowed to do anything in person. And everyone was saying, well, this is the new thing, and Zoom is the only way you're going to talk to people. And, you know, you're not going to go to events. And we're like, shit, like that might actually happen. But what ended up happening was the opposite, and people craved it more than ever.
Exactly.
Right? Where it's like, even here at this office, it's like our whole team's here. Right? But we love it. And there's a different energy in person. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of things that get replaced, but I think what you're doing is you're building an audience based off who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine, again, if you were just a model influencer, let's say, that just posted photos of an outfit, that could be replaced.
Yeah.
Right? But now you're saying, well, no, you're here because you enjoy my personality. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think is, again, something, and I mentioned it 5 years ago, where I was like, I think you're really disrupting that whole space when it comes to fashion and modeling, because I really don't see too much personality in that industry, right? I'm sure now, 5 years later, there's many more that maybe even you've inspired. But is that something that you feel like you've done well the last 5 years, is go into an industry and do something very different?
I think so, yeah, because when I catch myself thinking about like even going to these big events or whatever, and as soon as I get like a big invitation that I'm kind of intimidated by, my first thought is like, okay, well, how do I align myself more with the people that are going to be there? All the girls are probably going to hire hair and makeup, or like they're renting outfits and whatever. And I find myself in that loop and I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
That's not me. And I wasn't invited because I fit that mold. I was invited because of who I am.
Yeah.
And it's this feeling of, you know, we constantly always feel like we're maybe not enough for whatever reason, or we have to like, you know, if we're in some certain room, we have to be more like those people. But you bring so much value by just bringing who you are. And like, if I wear jeans and a dress shirt every day, why not show up in that same outfit with that same energy? Because that's what you're here for. And let the girl that's gorgeous and whatever else do her thing. You know what I mean? And we can all learn and inspire each other. But it's so important to just show up as who you are.
Of course.
Yeah.
Has it been scary for you to kind of show your personality at all times, especially in that space?
Yes and no. Like seeing that the views are lower for when I was starting to do that was kind of like, oh, probably like some, you know, campaign manager of whatever, like luxury brand saw that and thought like, yikes, you know, whatever. But then at the same time, I'm like, but you know, like who cares? And it's just so much fun for me. And I feel like at the end of the day, you can't outdo someone who's having fun.
Yeah.
And if I approach this with a lightheartedness, and if that's my content and that's my energy, then those brands who also want to seek that will see that in me, and we will meet at a great space and create something amazing together. But if I'm not being real, then I shouldn't be working with certain brands too, because I don't even represent them well enough. You know what I mean?
So the trip to Tokyo,
Yeah.
talk about that. Because was that like your first, was that like something big that happened and you're like, damn, like this is legit? Was that like the first big one?
I feel like it was a little bit different. I been to like a lot of brand trips. Those are kind of like, oh, we have a new launch, and it's like a collection of content creators, and you know, there's like a dinner or like a brand event, and it's kind of like, you know, it's quite fun, it's short, it's whatever. But this trip felt so meaningful, first of all, because of the product. I genuinely love it so much, and it was a very small group that went, and it was so science focused and like so science heavy when we were there. And to meet the brains of the operation for a heritage Japanese brand was incredibly humbling. And that, you know, I don't want to say I'm good enough to be here, but like I'm here taking all of this in and learning and being able to, you know, learn so much that I could now tell my audience not just like, oh, this is so great, I love this, but I can actually have such a strong just have such strong knowledge about it to share what I learned. And I felt really like a very important vessel of information at that moment, because you learn something that you wouldn't really like Google or learn about this product otherwise.
Okay.
And then you take that and then you share that to your audience, and you just feel the value on such a deeper level. And that was like, wow to me.
Damn.
Yeah, I love that.
But you had been traveling already.
Yeah.
Do you remember when your first kind of travel trip was?
I do remember the very first one. It was to Vancouver.
Okay. Was that after you made the change in content or before?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Damn.
Yeah, it was. It was more fashion and beauty focused, and like a little bit of lifestyle. And I started YouTube, which showed most of my personality, because, you know, on YouTube I was just like super unfiltered. And I got invited to that after. Wow. Yeah, I never reflected on that, honestly.
See?
Yeah.
Okay, so then how about the business side? I know you mentioned it a bit. Before we go on to the massive brands that you've worked with and the amazing things that you've done, business-wise, what were you learning about making money in this space? You know, and how were you positioning yourself to, again, continue to be yourself?
Yeah.
Right? But also, you know, realize that you want this to be a full-time thing, and you need to make money too.
I realized the importance of professionalism, and I realized that a lot of girls that I saw that were trying to grow on social media, they were doing it maybe for like, oh, like how to grow so you get PR from XYZ brands, or like blah, blah, blah. And I see them doing like one-off deals, and I hear from like, you know, the behind the scenes that like this person never submits content on time, or like all this stuff. And I was like I can't be that person, you know. You get an email, you reply right away. There's a deadline. 9 a.m. you have the content submitted, and you have to be so strict and disciplined with yourself. And I realized that I can make whatever content I want to make, but when it comes to a working relationship, you treat it very seriously. You're very respectful, professional. You read the brief. If they tell you to show up with like clean nails for a shoot, you come with clean nails. Like you prep the material beforehand, like everything. And I think that really helped me develop deeper relationships with brands, because they want to keep coming back, because they know what to expect from me, from, you know, who wants to deal with someone who's, you know, late on whatever submissions, or didn't read the brief and didn't include half the things that they had to in the video. Now they have to reshoot it, and everyone's on deadlines, and it's like, you know, you have to be really professional.
Okay, so and you think that made a change for you in terms of now, you know, working with brands on an ongoing basis instead of just a one-time thing?
I think so.
That really made the difference for you?
I think it made a huge difference, because even the feedback that I would get from some brands, they just say like, you are so easy to work with. And by easy, it means like we have a 3 email exchange of like, this is what you have to do. Okay, I'll get it done by this date. You get it done by that date and it's done. You don't have to have, you know, like 100 email chain and back and forth. And it's such a hassle for the PR agency that's working with you, or whoever's working with you, you know? And I feel like it made a world of a difference of me getting hired again, and just the relationships that you build with the people that you're working with. You just respect each other.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then are you doing like, how are you getting most of the brand deals? Are you doing outreach? Are you just waiting for them to kind of come to you?
Yeah, a lot of brands reach out.
Okay.
I guess it also depends on the content that I make. Someone sees themselves like, oh, she could probably talk about my fragrance the same way, or like, let's have her try this and whatever. And they reach out, and, you know, I'm really grateful to be in a position where I can say no to things that don't align. Obviously, when I was starting out and like the podcast 5 years ago, like any deal, I was like, yeah, like I need food on the table. I'm taking this deal and whatever. And then with time, I was like, you know, again, my trust is going to be worth so much more. And I don't want to be lying, or I don't want to be doing anything like that. And I would much rather work with brands that I genuinely use and love for like the rest of my life, as opposed to like one-off random deals. And that's just so much more valuable and organic. And
well, you didn't sell out.
Yeah.
Well, not yet. Listen, we'll talk in private. I'm playing with you, because, you know, people might watch this, or people might follow you, and they just might say, you know, well, how does Zhanna make money? Like, I get it. Okay, she does a brand deal and there's a reel and she's traveling. But I guess from you, what I'm trying to get is like, how can, if someone is watching this and they're trying to find the way to make money, being a content creator in your industry, what kind of advice would you give them? And is there something where, you know, you look at in terms of your revenue and you say, okay, well, I got to do more travel. That makes me a good amount of my money. Or is it more just send me this and I'll do a reel with it? What would you say to them? Because again, I think everyone has that question. They look at creators online all day, and they're saying, well, how's this guy make money? How they make money? Like, to live a full life and be full time. A lot of people can't wrap their heads around it, and you know, I can see why. It's a crazy world. But maybe some advice as to how you kind of look at making money in your space now, and what your focuses are.
Well, my focus is, it always was just being consistent, and being consistent again with being yourself. Try out different types of content. I would say, like, try out this kind of niche, try out that, but at the end of the day, just keep pushing. And so many people ask me for advice, and maybe you can relate to this, because I guess a lot of people don't know that I came to you for consulting advice when I was just starting out, right? And a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, well, how do I start this? How do I start that? And then I go on their page and they have nothing on their page. And I'm like, don't ask me anything. Like, don't ask me anything. Let me see the work on your page, and then we can talk. Because so many people think that, again, like, they'll hear that you have to be consistent and you have to do the work, and I'll give them an inspiring pep talk, and then they're like, yeah, okay, they're fired up, and then they leave and you don't see anything, and you're like, okay, great, this is a waste of time. So I think genuinely there is no shortcut outside of just posting all the time. And if you want to connect with brands and work with brands, then they have to be able to visualize themselves on your page. And whatever brands you want to align with, depending on your personality, if you want to go more luxury or not, or whatever you want to do, that's kind of the content that you make. And whatever brands you want to work with, it has to make sense for them to see them on your page, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then they'll have to see you a lot.
Yeah.
To even get to that point.
Of course.
When we were first talking, and I was helping you out, it was funny because there was at no point did you mention, okay, but am I gonna make money if I do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
You never said it once. It was more so, this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about this, and I'm passionate about this. How can I bring it to life? But I think a problem now, and again, people think it's easy when they see your profile now. But we're talking about 5 years now in the making.
Yeah.
And they see you and they're like, okay, well, fuck, like, let me post 30 videos and I'll be where Zhanna is. And then I'll make money, right? So it's like, there's the money thing attached to it because
Yeah.
people want to live that life,
Yeah.
right? They're like, I want to do what Zhanna does. I want to travel and be with Dior and take videos of me dancing around Milano, right? But they don't understand how much work has gone into it.
Yeah.
And again, like maybe you can tell us how long it took before you actually even went full time.
Well, I was living off savings and I was living at home. So that obviously helped.
Of course.
But I think maybe it took probably like 6 to 8 months before I got my first deal, which I think was like, I want to say like $200.
Yep.
So whatever. And I think, yeah, I guess when you look from the side, it looks like already it's like a well-oiled machine and like everything's just like, it's just easy. It's just, whatever. But yeah, it takes a while.
Right?
It takes quite a long time. And there are like, even when I listen to kids these days, they say like, yeah, I'm just going to become a millionaire like on YouTube and like whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so backwards because again, if I did think like, how do I like get rich or like, how do I whatever, I would not be able to sustain this and do this. You actually have to love it and do that. Like why I love doing it is I love creating videos. I realized I love to edit. I love to creative direct. I love to come up with concepts and like think of like, oh, okay, I'm doing an ad for a watch. Like how do I make it interesting? Like I love that part. And there's so many times where like someone can't meet my rate and they go lower and I just message my manager. I'm like, no, we're taking this. Like I want to do this. Like, you know, if it aligns and your heart is in it. Yes. And I think that for people who start thinking like, how do I, make money from this? You have to ask yourself again, what's your intention? The goal is to make money and be able to have this as a career. But what's the intention with what you're doing that with?
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of creators, they do start with, okay, when am I going to make money?
Yeah.
Or how? Or Ernesto, when? How long is it going to take? Right? And it's just like, there's literally no answer that I can give someone because things can happen quickly. They could take years. But my advice would be like literally do something you love doing. And that's why it's so intriguing to me because you never mentioned money once when we first had those conversations, right? Which now when I talk to someone and they come to me and they ask for advice or anything like that, it's like, okay, Ernesto, if I do A, B, and C, how much money will I make? It's like, that's not the world we're in.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that you say no to brand deals too. At this point, like you've been blessed enough to be in a position to do that.
For sure.
Is there a reason you say no to certain deals?
Yeah, I will. When a brand reaches out and say it's a product that I haven't tried or whatever, I will say, okay, like it's a tentative yes, send me the product, give me a week to try it out, whatever. If it's like a shampoo and conditioner, you know what I mean? That's such an easy thing to accept and be like, yeah, hair looks great. But I'm like, is it actually though? So I always want to test it out. And if it just doesn't align, it doesn't work, I don't see that the effects are there and that I'm like thinking of like what I'm going to say in this video. And I'm like, okay, these are lies. Like it has to be a no. It has to be a no. And maybe with one brand, like some product doesn't work for me and another one does. And I'm always, flexible and open to talking and saying, okay, well, I don't think I align with this product. Is there anything else that you're currently working on that we can see if it's a fit? And they'll say, oh, well, we have this. And I'm like, oh, let me try that out. It works. Great. I'll talk about this. You know what I mean? True. So you kind of have to also just be very flexible. I feel like when it comes to brand deals and everything, like, I don't think it should be black or white. You have to be able to, again, position yourself as a partner to these brands, not someone that they like, oh, this girl looks great. Like, do this ad, you do it, and then you never hear from each other again. I feel like when you approach the brand and you meet them halfway, I feel like it's such a more meaningful thing all around.
True.
Yeah.
I think it's an honest way about going about it.
Yeah.
For sure. I think a lot of people, well, again, like at the start, it's hard to be picky, right? Because you want to also make money to continue
obviously
your dream.
Yeah.
But I think audiences now, they see through creators when they're doing something that they don't really want to do. But you also mentioned there was a bit of burnout at times. I think all creators go through that. I think
sure.
even myself, like I started doing this food review stuff now, right? Which I love.
Yeah.
I love doing it. Jay comes with me. Jay's recording. He's like, bro, stop eating. I make him eat just as much as me. But again, I also started that. It's a cool format that I want to kind of use to get my personality out there.
Yeah.
And it's been fun, but I'm also getting very consumed by it right now. Because I'm just like, oh, like I want the next one to do as good as that one. And wait, if I just did 3 of these a day, this would be huge.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, you have to be real with your time and your energy. But I think a lot of creators go through that where you're kind of in this, I don't know, you're on this wheel that just keeps spinning. And you're like, okay, well, you know, last video's done. Now I got to worry about the next video. And maybe let me just study the way this person edited it, and maybe I'll get a better hook. And there's a whole world behind it that like you could literally go crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And we've both been in this world for a while now, but I want to ask you, you know, did you have any big moments of burnout? And also, how did you deal with that? Because I feel like it's just like this invisible pressure that we have, right? As soon as we wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, how am I going to beat yesterday?
Yeah.
How am I going to beat that last video? Or, you know, I worked with Fendi. How am I going to work with Gucci now? Like, how am I going to use that to get to that, right? It's this never ending wheel. But yeah, how have you dealt with any burnout if you have had it?
Yeah, I've definitely had it. I feel like I've had it multiple times.
Okay.
Most recently, like last year, I was traveling a lot. I think maybe 3 times a month. And it was like I would come home, I would open my suitcase. I wouldn't have time to unpack. And I would have just empty suitcases lined up. And I would take a new one and then load that up for that trip, close it, like not unpacking the previous one. And I would just get more suitcases so I can just like, because you land and then you're leaving the next morning and like there's just no time. And for these brand trips, I think also maybe it's important to note that from the side, creators going on brand trips looks like the most luxurious, like amazing experience, which it 100% is. Like these brands put in so much work, so much effort to make this the most like wow experience of your life, and it is. But at the end of the day, it's still work, and you have to treat it as like an overtime assignment. You know, from the moment that you're on that plane to those like 72 hours that you spend with the brand, you are working there. Like every moment of your days are structured out, and that's really draining when you have to do a lot in a row. And again, plus travels, like I had to go to Paris. I worked with a dream brand, and then the next day was Miami, and it was just like a lot of like, you know, it's winter here and then it's summer here, and like you just get so, you know, dysregulated, and then you let your health go down, and you know, you're so also consumed by whatever you're doing that you kind of forget about yourself. And I think when you want to, you know, now I again, the choices that I make are much more aligned. If I get invited on a trip and I just know that like, you know what, this brand is probably better off working with someone else, like I'll be honest and like, you know, maybe this isn't the right time. I'd love to revisit, but I also just don't want to be saying yes to everything for the sake of it. And I think it's so important to just recharge and always go back to your roots. And for me, like this past year, there was so much travel, which again, I've wished for and I'm so grateful for, and I loved every moment of it, but I was really wrung out, and I went back home to Latvia, and it's a like farm life, and it's such a 180, and it's just like, you know, you're wearing the same like outfit for 3 weeks straight, and there's like barely any running water, and you are thriving. And then the content that I was making there, like it went crazy.
Wow.
Because I was so, again, realigned with my roots. Like I made a video, I was at my grandma's farm on like how to make a horn out of a zucchini leaf, because we would do that as kids. And that got like 10 million views. And I would much rather that go viral than a catwalk video go viral. You know what I mean? And that video took me, I don't know, 20 seconds to make. I didn't even have to edit it. It was just like one take, this, that. And it was so from the heart. And I think when you're burnt out, just you have to go back to, again, like what like gives you peace, what makes your heart feel something, and you go back to that. And when you start to create from that mindset, everything always just so much better for me, like for me as a person, and for me with views and, you know, the reception of that type of content.
So you got 10 million views there. Yeah. And you're like, wait, maybe I'm just going to stay here on this farm. You might have to go back like once a year or something just to. I will. Okay. Tickets are bought. Right. And, yeah, I think that's important. Like you just have to slow down at times.
Yeah.
How did your perspective change in terms of like now coming back? You were on a farmland, you know, it's completely different life.
Yeah.
Did you change the way that you kind of moved throughout the day and thought of things?
100%, because I realized, like, you know, there's so much going on in the world. Like, the world's on fire, and what we're doing online, no one's saving lives. You know what I mean? We're kind of like the musicians on the Titanic. Like, we still got to be there.
It's crazy. Yeah, we are.
And when you kind of take it easy and you're like, this is not that serious. Like, this is just, it's fun, and you get to express your creativity. Like, everyone who works on social media, like, what a blessing that you can work and do something that you genuinely love. Like, you're creating, you're putting to life things that, you know, are in your head, and you don't have to do it with a huge budget. You can do it in your room with your phone. And when you realize you have the liberty to do that and to connect with people, it's just like such a weight off your shoulders. And it's like, you know, why try to be anything else? Why try to, you know, take this so seriously and be so, you know, like, I don't know, there's moments where I was just so strict with myself, and I realized that always backfired. And whenever I just go back to like a light approach, then it's always soaring.
I know.
Yeah.
I think it's us being like in Toronto, obviously big city.
Yeah.
And then you, of course, traveling to other big cities. Like, it's really hard to just stop and think that way. You have to be on a farm almost, and,
You
and
do,
like,
yeah.
and like away from everything,
For
so that
sure.
you have time to think. But let me even ask about your health. Like, was there any moments that your health took a hit,
Yeah.
where you were like, yo, like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a bit much now for this?
For sure. I was, this happened, I guess, November, December, January of this past year. I edit my own content, and I edit it like from my bed with a show on, and I pinched a nerve in my neck, and I couldn't move at all. And I would get those like flare ups like here and there just because like bad posture. Also, I'm tall, so I'm always like hunched over. And I realized that, you know, I don't take care of myself at all. I'll prioritize, like, oh, if there's a deadline, like, I will stay up all night and I'll make this work. And I'm, you know, doing everything for everyone else to, again, be professional. But then at the same time, I'm like, I've neglected myself completely. And I realized that I genuinely couldn't, you know, move. And usually when I'm sick or whatever, I'll push through and I show up and I still work if I have to, because again, if I don't, like, no one can take over for you, obviously. But then at this point, I physically, like, I could not get out of bed at all. And I'm like, oh my God, if I don't take care of myself, like, this whole thing stops.
Nothing else really matters.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. And I didn't post, I think, for a month, all of January.
Wow.
All of January, I just physically couldn't. Like,
I remember I messaged you because I think you posted something on your story, maybe, where you were kind of like, and it was funny because it was not funny, but it is kind of funny. In November, I pinched 2 nerves in my neck and my back, and I was going through it. Like, you can even ask Jay after, but I was pretty much out. What was I? I was out for a month. No.
Yeah. You're like immobilized.
I was out for a month.
Yeah.
I was done. I had like a concussion mixed with pinched nerves, and I'm just like sitting at the hospital. I'm just like, oh, nothing else fucking matters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm usually like, go.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? Meeting
Yeah.
this? Well, let's record this. Let's go crazy. Let's work all day. And it's those moments that, for me, it was a blessing. It was probably a blessing for you, where it's like, okay, this had to happen to me.
Yeah.
For me to just chill the fuck out. Right?
100%.
Which I'm sure after that now, right, you're kind of like always, you have that reminder at the back of your head where you're like, okay, like, it's funny. I had this guy on the pod the other day, Bilal, and he's like, you know, some days I'm like looking at my TikTok and like waiting for followers to just go up, and I'll just sit back and be like, I could die at any point.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about my TikTok followers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's crazy. Again, going back to it, it's like we're so consumed by it. I think there's pros and cons to being consumed by it. But it's moments like that, I'm sure, that change your whole outlook on the way that you're doing your career.
For sure. And like, you know,
Right?
I talk to other creators and they're like, oh, well, we take Saturdays, Sundays off. Like, we're off our phones. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah, I would be like, oh my God.
what do you mean?
That's when
And
I'm on my phone the most.
yeah. And, you know, I used to like look down on people like that, because I'm like, well, while you're having a day off, I'm going to be working and I'm going to get ahead. And then I'm in this like rat race with myself. And I'm the only one losing, you know, my health is down, my mental health is down, like everything was just so down bad. And then when you are pinched, like you can't move, you're just staring at the ceiling and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
What were you thinking about when you were going through that?
that it was so dumb of me to just take everything upon myself. I could have outsourced editing. I could have, made working hours for myself. Like, who said I need to work 24/7? Literally no one.
Yeah.
And then at that point, now I'm like, okay, well, I have an evening free. Am I going to sit and just like edit until my eyes fall out? Like, no, I'm going to go to like a Pilates class, or like I'm going to go on a walk. I'm going to, I haven't left the house today, or like whatever. And when you put those things into the mix, you get like such a more like well-rounded way of working, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you're like an entrepreneur, at first I think that sounds kind of like, okay, like, whatever, but only when you are just so down bad that you're like, oh,
Down bad.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like there's timing to it too, right? Where it's like, okay, I get it. I did the same thing for maybe 5, 6, 7 years. I was like, go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working Sunday, I'm working Friday night, I'm working Saturday. And I think at times it's okay. Like there's a time limit to doing that.
Yes.
Right? And at one point your body's going to say, well, now the time limit is over.
It'll catch up to you.
Right?
Yeah.
It catches up, where I think it's like a blessing that it happened to me. I also think it's a blessing it happened to you, because
sure.
maybe you would have just kept going at that pace
100%.
and something worse could have happened down the line.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard, but I think you actually end up feeling better when you are working now. Like me, like I made more time for the gym, let's say, but now I feel better throughout my whole day. Where before I just felt like a machine.
Yeah.
And I needed espresso. That was my oil.
Yeah.
And I would just keep going and going, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a blessing for you. I'm happy you're okay now.
Yeah, thank you.
right?
No, all the issues are gone, and
they're all,
it's like, wow,
that
it was
easy.
that easy. You just have to take care of yourself. Like,
And you're
that's
like thinking
crazy.
like, oh, like now I'm missing a brand deal, where it's like you have your whole life
yeah,
to get another brand deal. You have your whole life to post another piece of content.
yeah,
But I think a lot of creators, it's also a comparison game too that you play, right? Where it's like you going online and you're like, okay, well, if you're in the modeling space and you see now, shit, this girl's posting every day.
yeah.
And you're like, damn, like maybe I gotta post every day. And you're just comparing yourself at all times. Do you find you do that too? Or I feel like you're in a place now where you're completely comfortable with your
Yeah.
content and how often you post though.
Yeah, I think obviously that feeling always creeps in.
Yeah.
I am like an avid proponent of just muting people. And there's so many people that like I love, but I'm like, I can't watch you.
True.
Because whatever, like maybe it triggers something in me that I haven't worked through yet, and it's just making me feel whatever way. I can't put my name on it yet. Like, I'm just gonna not see this, because it's like your feed, you tailor it to what you want to see. And I always try to reframe of like, when I see someone doing something better or cooler, I'm like, wow, I am so inspired by this. Like, this is so energetically close to me that like this is in my like orbit or like realm of possibility. If like this person next to me is doing this, I love that. I'm like gonna send out a positive vibe, and like it's gonna come back to me, and it does. But whenever I look at something and I'm like, oh, like this bitch, it never comes back to me.
This bitch is where?
Yeah.
Where is she now?
That's never never helped me in anything.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you just mute them.
I just mute them.
We gotta start using the mute button more. I like that. Use the mute button way more.
Yes. And then when you're good, you can unmute them. And then you see their stuff
Like,
now,
okay,
and you're
I'm
like,
good now.
okay. Yeah.
I just came back from Milano.
Yeah.
I'm gonna unmute her now. Okay.
Listen, that may or may not have happened for sure.
So let's talk about some of the massive brands that you've partnered with. I mean, you sent me a list, and I was like, wait, what? I want to actually start with YSL,
Sure.
because you actually manifested that
Yeah,
on episode 1 with us.
I did.
Which was insane. But I'm a strong believer in manifestation,
Same.
so I was not surprised.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the YSL manifestation and how that came to be.
Yeah, well, I was on the pod, 5 years ago? And I remember you and Anthony asked me, like, what are some dream brands that you see yourself working with? And I was like, you know what, YSL, I feel like they're just so cool. I would love whatever opportunity with them. And then I think 2 or 3 years later, they reached out for a new launch in Paris, and they're like, we'd love to have you there. And I was like, holy shit, like, I spoke it into existence. And I'm such a firm believer of doing that with everything. Like, I have my 5-minute journals, I have my manifestation journals, like I write all of those things out. and then I achieve them.
So you didn't like there was no contact before that?
Well, there was kind of like maybe a PR contact.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a paid opportunity, but it was
Okay.
like it was a brand trip.
Of course.
And they are part of like L'Oreal Group, and then I guess there's PR in Toronto for that, and so obviously like they keep tabs on the creators here. And again, like I was posting organically, and you know they saw my content. They're like, we'd love to have you there, and like you know have you represent YSL in whatever way that you know do your content.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. It works.
It works.
It works.
It
Was that the
does.
first time that you saw manifestation really work for you?
You know, I want to say no.
Okay.
I feel like everything I have has been manifested, and like just like on the sheer belief that there's no other way.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to work, and this is what I want. And, you know, you put it out there and you believe it. And of course you put in the work to kind of like meet luck halfway.
Yeah.
And it works. I think every single brand that I work with today was just like one that I prayed upon
Yeah.
for sure.
And the YSL one, like, what does that brand trip look like?
Yeah, so this is, I guess, typical for any brand trip. So it's usually maybe like 2-3 days.
Okay.
And the brand takes care of your flights and your accommodations. And then you get, you know, like you choose whatever flight you want to go on, and they book that for you.
You choose the flight.
Well, they just like during the day. They're like, you want to arrive in the morning or the nighttime,
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
And so, yeah, they get you there, and then it's just so surreal. Like you're met at the airport with like a little like iPad with your name, and you're like, what the fuck? For me.
You're like, that's me.
And you know, it's so seamless, and these brands really put in so much effort and work to take care of you. You go to the hotel, you have maybe like a team lunch with the other creators that were invited, and like with the PR team, and then there's usually like the launch event itself, like maybe like an activation for like the product. For YSL, it was a new lipstick, so they took over like a piece of Paris and made it so beautiful, whatever. And then you experience that with like the global team. So there's creators from all over the world, like Germany, Brazil.
Wow.
You get to meet so many people that you follow online that you otherwise would not have met. And, you know, you're starstruck all the time because you're like, oh my God, I follow this person, I follow that person. And you have a chance to talk to them and bond with them. And then there's usually maybe like a nighttime party event.
Okay.
And then you're off the next day.
Wow.
That's it.
And are they telling you like, hey, okay, like this is the content we want to see while you're here, or more so just showcase what you like out of this trip?
You know, it depends. Some brands are like, okay, well, in exchange for this trip, we want you to capture an experience of this part. We want you to showcase this. And you kind of like, you know, you're on the same page about like what you should post. Oftentimes there's nothing. It's just kind of like, you know, an honor system. And
True.
it's up to you if you want to be posting one video or 10 videos. And you kind of also understand if you're there for a specific launch, then you should probably feature the product and the work that this brand put in. And it's like,
If you
it's
want to get a call back.
yeah, like it's common sense. And you're like, okay, I should probably do this. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I'd say more often there's not any deliverables that they ask for. It's just kind of like
Wow.
whatever you feel like you want to do for the brand.
For sure. And
Yeah.
how many creators went to that one?
I think it was, that one was actually a bigger one. I think there was
Okay.
like 5 of us from Canada. Usually it's like 2,
Damn.
2, 3, yeah, from the Canadian market. Yeah, because everything is like market specific.
I think I'm gonna manifest on this a YSL brand trip as well.
I think you should.
So I'm gonna YSL. I'm manifesting it now. Call me. I'll give you all the deliverables. I swear. I'll post every 2 seconds. No, I'm playing. You also worked with Dior,
Yeah,
Sephora.
yeah.
Or was that together?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
together. That was actually my first time, I guess, working with a brand outside of social media.
Okay.
So with Dior Beauty, they were one of the first luxury brands that reached out to me in the beginning, like I think year 2, I would say.
Okay.
And they, I guess, saw in me something that I didn't even see in myself at the time. They were the first brand that I booked a studio for to shoot a video. And I'm like, okay, this needs to be better. Like we have to level up. And they really, throughout these years, I'm so grateful to work with them because the amount of trust that they have in me as a creator. And again, I genuinely love Dior Beauty and their fragrances. Like it's been a staple in my life, like all my life. And they reached out last year and they said, we have this opportunity we're filming these videos. So when you go on Sephora, there is like the product page, then they have the official campaign photos, whatever. And then there's a video of like a testimonial style of video. And so they hired me for that. And it was in New York, and I went to the studio, and I'm like, okay, like, what's the script? What is whatever? And it's like a huge production, and they're like, no script, just talk. Like, what do you, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, guys. And I was shaking, and I think they were shooting a bunch of people that day, and I think I was going at like 3 p.m. So from like 7 in the morning till 3, I was just, oh my God, I'm like, why didn't they book me earlier? Like, I was going crazy. And I've done it 3 times since.
Okay.
And again, it's like, they put so much trust in me, where like they're like, yeah, you can do this, just talk from the heart, you know how to do this. But obviously when I film at home, like I have like a script, I reshoot, I whatever, and then there it's kind of like, okay, floor is yours, you know. And it was so intimidating, but it was so special. Like, it pushed me outside of my comfort zone so much. And again, I'm so grateful for them for like seeing that I would be able to do that, even though maybe I myself didn't know I could. And I'm like, okay, well, if Dior believes in me, then I probably can, and I need to step it up. And I put in so much work to study everything and just like make sure I'm going to nail it. And again, that developed so many qualities within me. What now I like, when I speak in public, or like whenever I'm doing anything, you know, it's so meaningful.
Why do you think Dior trusted you?
I don't know. I think, again, because of my maybe consistency in delivery with them. And, you know, every single time, it's funny, whenever I submit content or like a brand likes it, I always feel like relief. And in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, like, oh, that was good enough, you know? And then it's so important for me to reframe that thinking and just, you know, be like, just strong in what I'm doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be like, yeah, I know they're gonna like this. And I think they just, you know, they saw what I did for years, and they again saw themselves, you know, aligned within that content, and they just trusted me.
So that was like more like an educational piece of content.
I guess, yeah, one that they fully produced, and then because usually I'm really hands-on, and here I was kind of, I guess, half hired as a model, but it was more like because of my social media presence, because I speak about fragrance all the time. And yeah.
No, I bring up the educationals because I'm thinking about the first time we had the episode with you. And that was something that you were concentrating on too at the time, is kind of having that educational side to the modeling space.
Right.
Which is crazy. Right. So maybe they saw, I don't know if you even stopped that, or if you kind of, you know, slowed down on the educational stuff.
Yeah.
You might have, right?
I think I might have in relation to modeling. Yeah. But I guess like I always, again, like even when I mentioned Shiseido in Tokyo, like why I loved it is because I learned so much and I was able to relay that information. So a big, you know, intention of why I do what I do is because of the education and communicating whatever this product is about to my audience. Yeah.
When you're making content, is there, and I know you mentioned like you really want to be genuine and show your personality, but is there things that, you know, you try to do in every single video that, you know, okay, I'm not being fake, but I also want to make sure this video does well?
You know, I always try to start with a hook, but then it cringes me out because then you start sound like, when you watch a video of mine, and everyone makes fun of me for this, like in my circle, the intonation, you know, the influencer, like, get ready with me.
I'm doing it as a food blogger now. Now I'm doing it like that.
Every time. And I film it and I'm like, well, I need like a hook and like I need to like grab attention. Then I say it and I'm like, I don't talk like this. Like, why am I doing this? But I feel like it's subconscious, and it always like I always end up doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like work on just like speaking how I speak normally, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like it's like the hook and overthinking all that? And it's for me too. Like I'm literally doing it right now, where I'm just like, he's like, no, say it like this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yo, that sounds so dumb though.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we're in our own head. But I also think it's like you do want to keep being real. And then it's crazy. You even mentioned it. You were on the farm and you post this thing and it goes, hits 10 million, right? And it's always those pieces of content that you put together in 20 seconds that you don't even think's going to hit, and it hits.
Always.
Right? I posted this thing 2 days ago. It's still on a trial reel right now. It still has a trial. It hit 6 million views. Okay?
Wow.
And I put it together in 10 seconds. And I was just like, let me just see.
Yeah.
No hook.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some text on screen. No crazy editing.
Yeah.
And it hits.
But see, this is what I mean. Whenever you're just having fun and being yourself, like that, everyone feels that. it's easier for you. You could have made like in that zone, you could have made like 10 videos in the same nature and they would have popped off.
I know.
But if you spent the whole day making one perfect video, it would have probably done really bad.
Yeah.
And so again, this is why I always come back to it and like why I need to touch grass all the time, literally on a farm, where I'm like, it's always the things that are just so simple and just so you. And then when I start doing those hooks and when I start doing that, I'm like, yeah, the best stuff is like when I actually don't do that, because that's not me. For some people it works because they can genuinely deliver it in a great way.
True.
For me, like I kind of, I don't know, I tried, maybe I can't do it as well as they do. My strengths are like elsewhere. Like that's why you have to be so aligned to yourself.
And I think also people are starting to see through that.
Yeah.
Like the hook. Like obviously you still need to capture their attention quickly. But I still feel like, and someone posted this the other day, a friend of mine he's really great at social media. But he posted something about like, you know, everyone's worried about the first 3 seconds of the video and you stopped worrying about the rest of the video.
Yeah.
Like literally, like you're worried about the first 3 seconds of a 30-second video but you're not worried about the 27 other seconds.
For sure. Yeah.
And like you're prioritizing the wrong thing now. And I think even with that, like people will start to not get sick of it, but see through it a little bit, where they're just going to want to see someone real doing something real. And again, I can kind of attest to it now because I've been doing the food stuff, and a lot of the ones where I was just like, oh, I did that so fast and it was quick. And those are the ones that do the best.
Yeah.
And then I'll spend all day eating, editing.
Exactly.
And then I'll post it like that didn't even do what I thought it would do, right? So I think it's a piece of advice for people watching, obviously, that like don't overthink all aspects of the video.
Yeah.
And like obviously just post. Like that's a classic thing. Just post when you think it fits what you do. But I thought I'd say that just because, like, again, the farm example you gave.
Sure.
And it's crazy because even Anth always tells me like, yo, just like post it. Like just like you don't have to put so much thought into it. I was like, bro, of course I got to put thought into it. Like it's got to do well. I need the first 3 seconds, then the last 5 seconds, and the text on screen and the cuts and everything happening so fast.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work out like that.
Yeah. And I think it's the same with like when people approach you and they're like, how do I make money on social media? It's the same like us approaching the video with like, how do I make this like do numbers?
Yep.
And it's that same thing where it's like, then it's not going to work.
I think it fits for some people.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they have the same format all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, if you were doing the catwalk videos and that's the only video you did, then if you kept doing it like that in a structured manner, it's going to keep working for sure. Right? But yeah, I think once you start involving your personality and you're like, okay, well, I want people to see me more. And then you're going to have to kind of drift a little bit away from that. But that's why I like what you do, because you even have the YouTube, which is like, okay, that's like your rawest form.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
TikTok and Instagram pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Right? It's funny because when we had you on first, we were talking about Reels as if they were just introduced.
But weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this thing Reels. Like, have you been using Reels? And I was like, what year was this podcast in? It's insane. But whoever's watching this still to this point, like, go watch our first episode with her, because you're gonna realize how old I am now. No, but how things change and it was crazy. We're like, yeah, oh, you posting Reels? Yeah, I'm like posting 2 a day. It's working. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, when was this?
But that's YouTube Shorts now.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're going hard on YouTube?
I post shorts, like again, like just reposting the content that I have. And it all is doing like the same crazy numbers that Reels were doing when they were just introduced, because there's no one else posting on there. Like the platforms, they can, empty field.
True.
Why not just, put your stuff out there?
Yeah. And you're still to this day, you're still managing everything, editing.
So editing, I do it all. For the first time, actually, I just did a video and my friend art directed it. And then I had someone film it, like a professional videographer, and they edited. It was the first piece of content that I didn't edit by myself, which, being like a control freak, was terrifying. And then again, when your neck is giving out, whatever, you're just like, maybe I just need to admit that other people can do this better than me.
When you can't stand up and walk.
And I realized like my skills are also kind of like, I've reached them far enough where like I know how to do this, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
And someone else can do it 10 times better. And that was like a perfect example. And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
I think the editing is always the first thing you should try to offload.
Yeah.
Because it's just so consuming.
Yeah.
And you probably have so many examples of how you want things edited by now that you don't really need to do that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Fashion Week though in Milano,
Sure.
because I was jealous of that. I was like, yeah, it was so sick.
Amazing. It was amazing.
So which brand were you with for that trip?
I was there with Fendi.
Wow.
For their new show.
Okay.
Yeah, it was surreal. This was end of February. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane.
What are you taking from these trips? Like when you leave these trips, like Milano Fashion Week with Fendi.
Yeah.
I would be coming back here like, yo, I'm the guy. I'm the guy you saw there. Yeah, that's me, right? But like, no, seriously, like what are you learning from these trips? What are you getting from the cultures that you're visiting? Are you also meeting a lot of people in the industry now and you know, getting more opportunity that way?
Yeah, I come back feeling like I am honestly invincible. And it's like, well, I never even thought I could be invited to this. And you just feel so like, wow, I can do this. And it's so inspiring because it's like, well, I just got to keep pushing. Like, this is so great. Like, I can do it. And it's such a, you know, reassuring moment that you kind of, you know, deserve, and you've worked with everything that you did yourself, put you in that room. And that's amazing. And, you know, I was sitting next to this girl, I met her at the show, and, you know, everyone's a little shy. Like, no one's, you know, really talking to each other a little bit. And we kind of struck up a conversation, and we've been following each other since. And she was so inspiring to me. Like, I'm like, wow. And, you know, I started reading her Substack and like things like that. And like, I would have never been exposed to meeting new people on such a personal level otherwise. Like, you know, I go to so many events here in Toronto, and I feel like we've become such a close knit community here that, you know, we all know each other, whatever. And then you're exposed to, you know, a whole different, like, she herself is from France, and then she works as a creator in Italy. And I'm like, well, how does that look in Italy? Like, what is that like? And how do you operate? What do you do? And it's just so inspiring. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you compare Toronto's fashion to Milano's fashion?
I think there, I don't see people following trends too hard.
Okay.
People really lean into their personal style, and they really love it, and they're proud of it. Here, I think we still in Toronto kind of tend to flock towards the same like trendy things, or like trendy spots, or like, oh, this is cool to wear right now. Like, we're going to kind of lean into that. Although like there's, again, like so many fashionable people here, but I think there it's so out of the box. Like, I'm learning about brands I've never heard of before, and like everyone's so eclectic and eccentric, and they're like, yeah, I'm wearing my grandma's jacket paired with like this and this to the fashion show, and you're like, wow, like I would think that I have to go and like rent a brand new dress or something like that, you know? And it's just such a different mentality, and like everyone shows up with like, you know, their hair, how they woke up in the morning, and it's not brushed, and it looks so cool, and you're like, wow, this is awesome.
It's also a confidence thing.
Yeah.
I think that they have more. So out of all the cities you've been to, which city do you think has the best fashion?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, Milan was great. Milan was insane. Paris, obviously. Also Tokyo was fire.
I've heard amazing things about Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just so cool. So cool. And I try to, like, you know, whenever I go to a city, I kind of try to adopt the fashion personality of that city. I still dress like in my own taste, but I'm just like, okay, this like seems kind of cool. And I put this like outfit together, and this Japanese guy came up to me, and he's like, hey, excuse me, like, your outfit is so cool. And I'm like, I can retire. This is like, wow, this felt so good. And it was just, yeah, they're so effortlessly themselves. Everyone's just like, that's what I love. Like, I just love people being themselves. They're not afraid to look weird or whatever. And I find so much charm in that. And I love that.
So all this travel and you know, the life you chose as a content creator, you know, I'd like to ask creators this because, again, I think online there's this thing where it just looks like this beautiful, easy life. But does it get lonely for you? No.
I don't think so. I mean, again, you're asking an introverted only child if things get lonely.
True.
It's the only way of life I know. I'm just kidding. No.
More so, do you ever feel like alone in your career?
No, I don't. You know, at first, obviously, like, everyone around me was kind of like weirded out by what I was doing because it was strange. You know, like, my family was kind of like, okay, you know, whatever. It was so out of the norm, and it also didn't have legs yet. And then now doing it, I'm just like so in my own zone, and I just feel so whole in what I do that I don't even notice if like anything else. And I'm so just like, you know, I'm always developing myself in whatever ways, and I'm always so too occupied to notice if I am lonely or not, and I'm not.
That's a good way to do it too. Just stay so busy that.
Yeah,
that
but
you're
I'm
not
just
even
like, I'm
thinking-
just having such a good time doing my thing.
No,
that, like,
honestly, it does look like you're having a good time. Honestly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up your mom too.
Yeah.
Because she was in your content from day one, pretty much.
Yeah.
So what is she saying now that she's seen the last 5 years of your success and how much you've grown? What
Oh,
is she? How proud is she?
she is so proud. She is such a day one. And I think she was like one of the only people that was like, yeah, like whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Like, doesn't make sense to anyone, doesn't matter. She is such a supporter. And, you know, she said something the other day and it was so sweet. She said that, you know, I showed her a different way to live. And she's like, I'm so inspired by you. And she's like, I feel like I have like new eyes on life. And, you know, that was so meaningful to me because I take her along on, you know, opportunities, or like I'm taking her on a brand trip with me. We're going to extend, we're going to spend some time together, but like, you know, let her experience this and be in front of the camera too. Like so many brands see her and they want like, you know, content of us together, and she is thriving. She's having such a good time. Like I see how much she started to believe in herself more, and you know, it's just so inspiring to me, and like we're just like in this like inspiration loop with each other, you know. It's amazing. She's really happy. She's really proud.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you never know who you're inspiring.
Yeah.
Right. Like that your mom's looking at life like that.
Yeah.
And she's looking at you like, I mean, she like you said, she was there from day one. She was obviously supportive. You could tell she was supportive being in the content.
Yeah.
But that's the power of socials, right? And content. You never know who you're inspiring. Could be inspiring your own parent.
It's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's time to manifest now.
Yeah.
Okay. You manifested what you did 5 years ago and it came true. Now we're going to do it again. No pressure. But you already know you're going to use this clip. I'm going to use this clip. You're going to use it. Something you want to come to fruition the next 5-10 years.
5-10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I want to explore being more behind the camera. I feel like modeling was one extreme where I was just at the front. Content creation is a good mix of like, I'm still in front of the camera, but I do the behind the scenes. And I want to do more behind the scenes fully. Like I want to art direct. I was in New York and this girl on the street, she's like, oh my God, are you? And I'm like, yes, it's me. I'm Zhanna. And she's like, you're that cinematographer, right? And I was like, yeah. At this moment, I obviously understand she mixed me up with someone, but I'm like, like that's me. And like everything she was saying, like in my head, I'm like, this doesn't feel too far off from what I would want to do one day. And I just kind of like went along with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's like, I love your videos. Like, I love like, you know, how, the way that you see things, the way that you film them. And I'm like, thank you. And I kind of left with that. And I'm like, I would love to do more cinematic things and, you know, direct for other creators and just be behind the scenes more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. That woman come out, she manifested
Yeah.
it.
You know, at first I was like, ha ha ha. And then I kind of left and I'm like, but you know, if she were to ask me like, oh, are you that model? I would have said no.
Wow.
But then her saying that, I was just kind of like, you know, I'm not going to reject this thought from the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And being in the fashion world too, would you ever want to start your own product?
I'm not going to say no. Right now I don't. And, you know, everyone always asks me this and I just don't feel like, you know, if my heart's not in it, I don't want to do like a money grab for whatever.
sure,
And
of
also like
course.
yet another fashion brand. Like if I could actually deliver something that I'm like, okay, wow, this is really cool. I stand behind this. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that's in my like future, like plans.
Okay.
Yeah. For the near
I
future.
guess people just assume it because you're already
Yeah.
promoting products
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, well I could just put my name
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this one instead. But you're just really not a sellout at this point at all. Like you're not selling out at all in any way.
I mean, I definitely would do like I think it's like seems like a natural next step to do a business of some sort. I don't know if it would be fashion related per se. I love reading, I love scrapbooking, and like these are things that I don't really show the camera because, you know, I'm like, I feel like I should have a hobby that's not monetized. But at one point I'm gonna have to sell out and monetize.
Yeah, at one point.
The other hobbies that
it's
I
just
have.
about how bad or good you sell out in,
Yeah.
in which fashion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But I think everyone, they don't sell out in a way, but you know
I
you're doing
know.
all this also to have a career and be
Yeah.
able to do things. And, you know, I'm also sure that a lot of the money you did make up until now, you've reinvested into what you still do,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
It's not like you just retired and said, okay, well, I'm done. Thanks
course.
everybody for watching my catwalks. Later, I got the money I need. And I did want to ask you again, our famous question.
Yeah.
I know what your answer was the first time.
I don't remember, honestly.
I'll tell you after
Okay.
you answer it now. But Zhanna, does money buy happiness?
I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
It bought peace, which in turn bought happiness. It bought me peace to have leeway to do what I want to do. And having money allowed me to just pursue passions of the heart as opposed to, you know, having to get a job and like make ends meet. So money bought happiness. It bought a lot of stability, which makes me happy because, you know, this is what I'm seeking at this point in my life. So yeah, my answer is yeah.
Well, you said it buys freedom last time.
Did I?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I
I guess
agree.
it's true.
Zhanna, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. I'll see you in 5 years.
See you in 5 years.
When you're behind the scenes.
Yeah, I won't be sitting here. I'll
You
be
won't even
operating.
I'll be talking to you while you're off camera. Honestly, they'll keep killing it.
Thank you.
It's been very inspiring. I'm sure you've inspired thousands and thousands of people to do something with their life.
Yeah. I hope
And
so.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being one of the people that inspired me to do all of this. And you were there from day one. And, you know, you really helped shift my mindset to let me do what I'm doing today. So thank
I think you
for
had the
that.
right mindset. I think you had the right mindset going into it. And, you know, I think if there's something anyone can take from this, it's like, if you really do something that you enjoy doing day to day, and I know this sounds cheesy because like everyone will just say, do what you love, you know, but you really got to put your head down and keep doing what you love. You will attract the things that you want in life just based on who you are. And, you know, eventually those opportunities will come. And don't sell out.
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay, don't sell out yet, right?
Exactly.
But Zhanna, thank you again.
Thank you.
Keep killing it, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. This is a pleasure. See you soon.